Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we're cutting straight to the chase. We're diving into smart finance, wealth building, success strategies, all viewed through the lens of, well, one of the most visionary tech minds out there.
That's right. And for this deep dive, we've extracted some really surprising lessons, some concrete takeaways from interview excerpts with Elon Musk. We're focusing on his personal journey, his sometimes unconventional financial habits, and his approach to risk. It's quite something.
Yeah, it really is. And our mission here, yours and mine, is to uncover those practical, actionable nuggets of knowledge. Things that can help you understand how massive value gets created, how real financial freedom is achieved, and maybe what mindset shifts could speed up your own journey, wherever you're starting from.
Exactly. And I think the hook here, the surprising part is that this isn't just about becoming a billionaire. It's about fundamental principles. Things that apply to basically anyone looking to make smarter financial moves, build wealth maybe faster than they thought possible, often by thinking differently.
Okay, so let's unpack that. I mean, a lot of us have that dream, right? Building wealth, maybe starting from almost nothing. It often feels like this huge, impossible mountain to climb, especially when you look at where someone like Elon Musk began.
Oh, definitely. And it's striking just how, humble those beginnings actually were. He grew up in South Africa, famously moved to North America with, I think he called it basically just a backpack.
Backpack, wow.
But, and this is crucial, he wasn't really empty-handed in spirit. He carried this incredibly strong belief that technology could genuinely change the world. It was less about physical stuff, more about the vision he had.
And it wasn't like he had some easy path laid out, right? No silver spoon. He really had to teach himself. Coding, physics, business, that kind of relentless, self-taught drive, it feels like more than just a background detail. It seems central to how he tackles problems.
Absolutely. He wasn't waiting for someone to teach him. He was actively building his own education, you could say.
Yeah.
And his first real financial breakthrough, it wasn't luck, it wasn't inheritance, it was creating Zip2.
Zip2, right. The online business directory.
Yeah, essentially a kind of digital yellow pages when the internet was just getting started. I mean, think about the mid-90s. The internet was clunky, local businesses had like zero digital presence. Zip2 gave them maps, directions integrated into newspaper sites. It wasn't just another website, it was solving a real widespread problem right at a key moment.
And that sold for a huge amount, didn't it?
It did. Sold for over $300 million. Now, for someone starting with basically nothing, it's more than just money. It's proof that his approach worked.
So, okay, what's the core lesson here from this early stage? Because I think this flips conventional wisdom around a bit. He seems to really believe, don't focus on money first, focus on solving a big problem better than anyone else.
Exactly. Money follows value. That's the mantra.
It sounds almost too simple, though. If you're trying to build wealth, how do you even spot a big problem that people will pay to solve?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the billion-dollar one in his case. For him, it meant looking for friction points in society. Where were things inefficient? What didn't exist yet? And then applying his deep understanding of technology to fix it. Like with Zip2, he didn't invent the internet, but he saw how businesses could use it much, much better. It's about finding where your unique skills can create like exponential value.
Okay, speaking of value, let's shift gears a bit. From starting wealth to personal finance. Daily habits. We all see those articles, right? Money habits of the rich, daily routines of millionaires. People are curious, but Musk's approach here might actually surprise you. It's not typical.
No, it's definitely unconventional. His stated philosophy is basically, I reinvest almost everything into my companies. He's not, building a diverse stock portfolio or hoarding cash in a savings account in the way most financial advisors would tell you to. His wealth is almost entirely tied up in the ventures he's actively building.
Yeah.
He sees those as the primary investment.
So his companies are his savings plan, in a way.
Pretty much. Yet his advice for actual personal financial management is surprisingly simple, almost stark. He just says, spend less than you earn, avoid unnecessary debt, and put your money to work.
Basic stuff, but maybe the foundation.
Exactly. It's the underlying discipline that makes the bigger strategy possible, perhaps.
Okay, but here's the bit that really jumped out at me from the source material. He mentioned that for years, he didn't even own a home. He actually slept in factories and friends' spare rooms. I mean, that just seems wild. It completely goes against the image of a wealthy person.
Right, it does. And I think this highlights a really important distinction he makes. People often confuse being rich with spending lavishly. But he clarifies, true financial freedom comes from assets that make money while you sleep.
Assets, not just income or fancy stuff.
Precisely. So his choice wasn't just about being frugal for the sake of it. It was about maximizing his ability to reinvest everything. Every dollar went back into building those assets, believing they'd generate far more down the line. It's about owning the machine, not just enjoying the output immediately.
That connects really well to ideas people talk about, like passive income, financial freedom tips. But for him, it's not just a side project. It's about owning equity in businesses and technologies that scale, right? Not just trading time for money forever.
Exactly. And scaling is key here. When we talk about businesses that scale, we mean they can grow their revenue massively without costs growing at the same rate. Think software, platforms, certain kinds of manufacturing. Once the heavy lifting, the R&D is done, you can often produce or serve millions more without multiplying your overhead by millions.
Like Tesla or SpaceX.
Perfect examples. Huge initial investment, massive R&D hurdles, but designed for exponential growth if they succeed. It's leveraging technology to multiply impact way beyond just, one person's time.
But this sounds so extreme. I mean, are we all supposed to sleep on factory floors? How does this radical reinvestment idea apply to, someone with a regular job and maybe kids?
No, probably not sleeping in the office. But the principle, the core idea still applies. It's about prioritizing creating assets over just consuming things right now. It means asking yourself, okay, where can I put my extra income so it grows and works for me? Rather than just, buying more stuff.
So maybe that's investing in stocks or a side business online that could potentially scale
Or even investing in yourself. Learning high-value skills that increase your earning potential. It's fundamentally about shifting from just being a consumer to thinking like an owner.
Okay, let's tackle risk, the art of the calculated risk. We admire people who take bold steps, but the big question is always, how do you take smart risks? How do you invest wisely without, losing your shirt? It feels like a dangerous game.
It can feel that way. Musk's guiding principle sounds simple again. Only risk what you can afford to lose. But we need to unpack what afford to lose meant to him. It wasn't just spare cash lying around. It was being so utterly convinced about the potential of Tesla and SpaceX that he was willing to bet literally everything he had from PayPal.
Everything. Okay, that specific example. Investing all my PayPal money into Tesla and SpaceX. That sounds like pure gambling to most people.
I get why it sounds that way, but this is where he draws a sharp line between gambling and calculated risk. He calls it an informed leap, not blind faith. Why? Because, as he puts it, he understood the industries, the engineering, and the demand.
So he wasn't just guessing.
No. With SpaceX, he used his physics background, that first principles thinking, to see that reusable rockets weren't just possible, they were essential to making space travel affordable. With Tesla, he saw the potential in electric vehicles and battery tech way before others did. They dismissed it. He saw the future.
So it was deep knowledge informing the bet.
Exactly. Knowledge of physics, engineering, market dynamics. That allowed him to see possibilities others just couldn't. It wasn't a coin toss. It was based on deep, deep understanding.
Okay, so the lesson for smart investing isn't just be bold, it's
do deep research and invest in what you understand deeply. Know your stuff. Don't just follow hype. And he adds another crucial point, one that's often missed when we talk about diversifying money. He talks about diversifying skills, saying something like, learning new things is free but makes you financially bulletproof. That's a really interesting take on financial security.
Learning makes you bulletproof. I like that. Okay, so as we start to wrap this up, let's get to the big question for many listeners. How can the average person actually achieve financial freedom faster? Faster than the standard, 40-year grind to retirement. It feels like such a long haul.
Yeah, and his strategies here, when you distill them, are, again, simple but powerful. First, start small but think big. Don't let the scale of your ultimate goal paralyze you from taking the first small, concrete steps. Keep the big vision, but act now.
Okay, start small, think big. What else?
Automate your savings. Take the decision out of it each month. Set it up so a portion of your income automatically goes into savings or investments before you can spend it.
Remove the friction, yeah.
And maybe the most critical one, invest early and consistently. He talks about compound interest being the eighth wonder of the world. And it really is that snowball effect where your earnings start generating their own earnings. It's incredibly powerful over time. The earlier you start, the bigger the snowball gets.
Save smart, invest early. It sounds so basic, doesn't it? But doing it consistently.
That's the key. Consistency over decades, even with small amounts early on, can lead to massive results later thanks to compounding. And then he brings it all back home with what he calls the ultimate wealth-building strategy.
Which is?
It sort of goes right back to the beginning. Be so good at solving problems that the world can't ignore you. Become indispensable. Create so much value that recognition and compensation naturally follows.
Solve problems the world can't ignore. Okay, well, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. Thank you for joining us. We've touched on the power of solving big problems, the kind of radical discipline in financial habits, the wisdom in truly calculated risks, and yeah, the magic of compound interest through early, consistent investing. So drawing on that core idea, money follows value, and that ultimate strategy of becoming indispensable by solving problems. Here's a final thought for you to consider. What significant problem, maybe in your work, maybe in your community, maybe even just in your own life? What problem are you uniquely positioned to tackle or solve? How could focusing your energy, your skills, perhaps even your own unconventional approach on delivering that specific value, how might that open up unexpected paths to wealth and freedom for you? Much like it did for the visionary we talked about today. Keep learning, keep building, keep dreaming bigger. Apply these insights to your own unique journey.